Hold up now. A NASA scientist said that he's seen 7 feet tall aliens, and they exactly resemble African Americans. The story comes from a former NASA scientist called Norman Bugrun. Now, according to these claims, during a military operation, he claims he's seen these beings step out of a massive spacecraft. Now, we're not talking about the little green men, or we're not talking about the big head, skinny neck, big eye, gray ones either. The ones we all accustomed to hearing. He said they were tall, black, human-looking beings with a stature of a warrior. He also described these beings as confident and powerful. After he dropped this news, I'm not gonna lie, he had the internet going crazy, fool. Got people saying, if this is true, this changes everything we thought we knew about life beyond Earth. And they also said, if this is true, this means we've been picturing aliens the wrong way the whole time. So here's the thing, y'all. NASA hasn't confirmed any of this. There's no official documents, no official photos, nothing. It's just this statement coming from this man. So the question is, do y'all think he lying? Or he telling the truth?
Secret covenant between the US government and those beings. And I said that from what God showed me, it's lots and lots of decades old. They've been exchanging technology. I've already told you that America is not smart enough to have the planes, the guns, the ships, and everything else that she has. It is them that always give it to us, this technology, this stuff that we have. However, the plan is that the government has choice. The aliens were like, oh, okay, you thought that we were playing when we said bring us out. You thought that we were going to be your quiet, sneaky link forever. Bring us out, do a disclosure, or we will do a reveal. That is why all that haywire stuff was going on in October, November, and December of 2024. All the ships, all the blips, we think they're in the sea. That is why NASA had that 2-week live conference. I've never seen anything like that in my life. All of a sudden, the American government that claims that it doesn't know anything about aliens, right, was sitting and reading, there's a tall one, there's a gray one, there's a tall gray one, then there's a tall short one, then there's one with almond eyes, and then there's the one with the googly eyes, and then there's the purple ones, and then there's the ones that really look like white people from the Netherlands with long white hair and blue eyes, and then there's this shape. Yes. So all of a sudden, from knowing nothing, they have 50 pages of documents stapled together where they can name everyone and their grandpa from all the different solar systems. And they thought that no one would be paying attention to that. I was paying attention to that. I was watching that. I was saying, okay. So they're choosing option 1 because there's a foot on their neck. Option 2 that God told me the aliens gave them was that if you do not disclose to these people who we are and then come up with a structured plan, don't only think that you will tell them. If you don't come up with a structured plan to bring us in public and introduce us into the society, which is what they want, we're going to come out by ourselves.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Profess. Thanks again for choosing us today. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing, hit that like button, and let's get into it. I appreciate you all for taking the time and tuning into this channel. So NASA said what? 7-foot tall aliens are coming in November, and guess what? They look like Black Americans and they are aggressive. Who say they were aggressive, and how did they know? Because have they really, had interactions with these people before, or with those aliens before? Let's talk about it, because this headline is actually blowing over social media. People are stitching it on TikTok, Instagram, and all over. People are asking the question, how did NASA actually know that these aliens were aggressive? Have they actually had an interaction with these aliens before, or is it just, an assumption? Let's talk about it. I have some couple of videos that I have compiled for you, of Black Americans' hilarious, reactions to this. How did they know that aliens actually look like Black Americans? In other words, they just wanted to say aliens look like melanated people, because how do Black Americans look? They look like melanated people all over the world. Now, let's get into it. I'll be back with more commentary after this.
Let me share some more information about 7-foot tall black aliens that you should not ignore. The idea of 7-foot-tall black aliens has actually been a part of American pop culture and even religion for a very long time. But first, let me share this piece of the puzzle. This is an interview from just a short few years ago from a guy who says he's an Air Force officer, and he says that when a large cigar-shaped craft landed on his Air Force base, out came 7-foot-tall, African-looking aliens. The audio is authentic. Somebody made an AI video of it, but the audio is authentic. Listen.
Back of this craft opened up and several hundred young men with huge, heavy weapons came out of two sides of the ship and formed a protection line around the ship. And these people at that Air Force base, the commander, had a meeting with the individuals that were aboard this ship, and this particular rate that landed those ships and that are seen in these huge cigar-shaped ships, they are a black race. They look like African American. They were about 6'4", 6'5". The tight-fitting black leather outfits on, and the weapons that they came out of the ships with, they were huge weapon. And if you've ever seen a race of people that were conquerors, that has never been conquered, they've got this look about them.
All that just to say that tall, African-looking men coming out of spaceships or UFOs is not a new idea. Some of us apparently have been thinking about this for a very long time, for one reason or another. I don't know everything about it, but it is an idea that's been with us for a while, and now that idea is back again. Aren't these wild times we live in? By the way, 3i Atlas, the object, is heading this way. It'll be at the closest point to Earth on October the 29th. That's exactly 80 days from right now. Let me know what you think about it in the comments.
NASA scientist is saying that he saw a 7-foot-tall alien race that looked like African Americans on what he described to be getting off a mile-long spaceship. Let's talk about it. Now, this is all alleged, but I have seen some sources that has talked about this claim, and I honestly don't put anything past it because there's just nothing that I don't believe when it comes down to these extraterrestrials. And my first thought when I read that he saw this race that resembled Africans was the Anunnaki. Now, it was alleged to have been seen at some type of Air Force base, and he said it was hundreds of them, and they looked like a black race, and they were huge. And the Anunnaki were said to be so huge that they were like the Nephilim, which are fallen angels and giants. And he said they had an arrogant look of like conquerors that have never been conquered. I know that's right, aliens. Y'all better serve. But the theory of the Anunnaki's existence has been around for so many years, and they're actually talked about in so many different texts of different cultures around the world. The Anunnakis are said to be some type of extraterrestrial beings that had something to do with basically the existence of humankind. And it is said that they used to basically go back and help ancient civilizations and give them technology and basically tell them what to do and how to make these pyramids, or basically help them do this. Because if you think about it, I don't care what y'all say, there is no possible way that these Egyptians built these pyramids without some type of higher power. So you mean to tell me that these weak slaves, these weak people have built these thousands of pounds of tons and stacked them up and made these pyramids? There's no way. There's no way. The Anunnaki is said to have came down here and helped them and gave them so much knowledge and power. And rumor has it that some people in the higher ups have said that the Anunnaki was supposed to be coming back. So it just all makes sense to me. And lately it's just been so much alien talk, like more than usual. I know every other year we have a few claims and, little few videos of people talking about like different things they've seen. But lately it's just been so much alien talk that some truth has to be behind this stuff. So like I said, this is alleged, but I don't know. I don't put anything past it. But let me know what y'all thinking if y'all believe in the Anunnaki.
The conversation around this NASA scientist saying that aliens resemble African Americans needs to be wrapped up. Because first of all, they couldn't have just been dark-skinned beings. They had to specifically resemble African Americans, and then it's like African Americans. Why specifically African Americans? And who is this NASA scientist? Like, is this even a real thing? Like, is this even a real discussion to even be having at this point? Because now all of a sudden the aliens are African Americans. Like, what? Does that not seem like some sort of propaganda to then target, African Americans, if aliens were to ever come, or if there ever were to be an alien invasion, to then blame African Americans somehow. And like, the thing is, whether or not this is real, like, it's already put out into the media. And what I think is like weird about it is that it was World Star specifically that put this out that I've seen. And I feel like it was specifically to just get this talked about so that if in the future any alien invasion type of thing did happen, people would already have in their minds that it is African Americans. But like, think about that. Why would the aliens resemble African Americans? Like, why that specific? They really couldn't just be black beings. They resemble black people. Or they're just dark-skinned beings. But no, they resemble African Americans specifically. Like, that feels intentional. What?
A NASA scientist has claimed that he saw 7-foot-tall African-American aliens, and I'm going to use science, history, and a little bit of religion to explain to you why I think that is completely plausible. First things first, when you look at space travel, you don't want to have white skin. Look at the study that was done in Chernobyl with black fungi and black birds. What they were finding is that the animals with black skin or very, very dark skin, they were surviving and adapting to radiation a whole lot easier than other animals that didn't have that freaking dark skin or melanin. Look it up. See if I'm making that up. All right. So if you're going to do space travel and try to resist the radiation waves that you're going to be constantly hit with, because mind you, the Earth protects us from the radiation. If you're out there in space, you're going to be hit with that constantly. The further that you go. So you got to be as dark as possible. This is why usually when you hear about aliens, you don't usually hear about white ones. And the ones that you hear about that are supposedly white are usually coming from people who you don't trust in the first place. Okay? Most times you hear about reptilians, dark-skinned children, and gray aliens, but you never hear about white because it doesn't make sense for space travel. That's first thing. Second thing is, if you start to look into history, you might actually discover they've been here, and that the black people were the chosen people. How could we not have been? We were the first humans. If you look at the story in the Bible about the real reason why God flooded the earth with Noah's Ark, well, this part of the Bible was actually removed. It's called the apocryphal text. There's actually a story about how angels came down to earth, were sent by God to teach humanity and watch over them. Well, instead of doing that, the angels or the watchers, they decided to breed with the human women to make these giant people called the Nephilim. And they also taught us forbidden knowledge like geometry, root magic, you name it. And the leader of the watchers was an angel named Samyaza. And what did he teach? Root magic. African American, who's the only people who are known to use root magic. That'd be us. I'm just saying, I want you to think about a lot of the hatred that is put towards black people. It's very, very common for, a child to rebel against his father. I'm not saying that you should get a telescope. I'm just saying they've been here. Just pay attention.
I swear they are spraying dust in the air so that we are all high because someone's high. Why did I just read how NASA is talking about how the aliens that were coming in November apparently, allegedly, is making a U-turn. It's gonna be sooner, and now they're saying that they're 7-foot black aliens. They apparently resemble black Americans, and I'm really confused. I'm like, damn, you know what? The world's already racist, and I feel like all this stuff is only happening in America and not other countries, because unless we heavily filter, because this is crazy. Not America hating minorities, and now you gonna tell me that is this alien black race coming in? They really about to hate everybody. They about to hate us for real. It's crazy. I need a drink.
So it's always the hair that tells the true story about the true ethnicity of are ancient people. But not only the hair tells the story, there's actually another huge piece here. You notice how the nose is missing on this statue? Seemingly chiseled out. Now, what's interesting about this is a very common theme amongst many ancient statues and sculptures found around the world. Even on the Sphinx of Egypt, again, on all these ancient statues, the nose has seemingly been chiseled out. It's because the nose tells the real story, guys. It tells the real story. And when we see Greek statues like this, intact nose, no problem, white people, you know. And then you got the chiseled out nose here because it's telling the real story of our true ancestors. You think that it's just a coincidence that all of these ancient statues have the nose chiseled out? Well, let me tell you, it's most definitely not a coincidence, and it's just another way to cover up the real origins of humanity and our true history. Peace and love.
All right, guys, there you have it. Actually, this story is supposedly alleged that, this NASA scientist is actually claiming that he has seen aliens that are coming, toward this planet, and they look like 7-foot tall African Americans, or in other words, they look like 7-foot tall melanated people. We don't know if this is true, but this might actually be one way of spoon feeding information, to the world population to see how people are going to handle this information, because this is exactly what they do. When they have something that they want to disclose, most of the time it's gonna come out in rumors, it's gonna come out in terms of TV shows, just hints, to see how people react. Now, lately, there have been a lot of talk actually about aliens coming to the world. We all remember that speech from NASA when they were claiming that, they have been looking for aliens in space, but the aliens are actually in our oceans. We all remember that, right? And that is exactly what has been happening. I do think, in my opinion, they are preparing, the global population for something that, might actually be coming. Maybe there are some aliens who are headed to, our planets, and they're trying to prepare the way. Now, how did they know that these aliens actually look like 7-foot tall Black Americans? This is my question here. And this is exactly what a lot of Black Americans are asking themselves. How did they know that these aliens look like 7-foot tall, Black people? Well, that means that for you to actually have an impression of how an alien look, you have been in contact with them. And as we have seen, one of the creators actually, claiming maybe this is exactly what has been happening. Some governments on Earth have been actually in contact with these aliens and sharing information and technology, because some people actually claim that if you look at the way the technology of this world has actually improved and evolved in the last 2 centuries, it's astronomical, because it has been actually growing on a level that has never been seen before. And some people do argue that this could only be possible if there is some extraterrestrial that actually are sharing technology with governments on this planet. Well, I don't know how true that is. That is alleged, but it might actually be true. And why are they now supposedly trying to say that aliens are coming? We all know how NASA is always secretive about their operations, and we have seen a lot of videos actually debunking a lot of NASA's even pictures of planetary systems, Mars, the surface of the Mars, to be actually some pictures that were actually taken here on Earth, which insinuates the fact that maybe they don't want to show you the real thing. They don't want to show you the real picture. They don't want to give us the real information. But why all of a sudden are they actually claiming that aliens are coming? Maybe there has been a misunderstanding between them and these alien, or the aliens are actually now fed up of being secret and they actually want to be revealed. They want to come and be revealed. Or maybe there have been a contradiction or some kind of misunderstanding between the governments of the world and these aliens, and now they're coming here for a reason, maybe for, you know, revenge, or maybe for something else. There must be a reason why, you know, they are trying to insinuate that these aliens are aggressive. How did you know that they're aggressive? Unless they're coming to Earth for a purpose, maybe for revenge, or maybe, you know, to take something of theirs that you took. Maybe. I'm just saying. What do you think, guys? What do you think about this? And what do you think about this, you know, story saying that aliens actually look like African Americans, 7-foot tall African Americans? Well, one thing is for sure though, there is more to this planet than we actually, you know, have enough time to know in our lifetime, because we only live once and for a short time. Let me know in the comment section what your opinion is. I'm your presenter, Profess. Thanks again for choosing us today. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. See you in the next episode.